Very special announcement that you've all been anticipating and waiting on, and that is that he is running for re-election to the Probate Court of Montgomery County. My work does not take me very often to the probate office, but I, like many of you, as a consumer, as a citizen, have spent time over there over the last couple of years, and I can say that all of my experiences have been good. And I know I speak on behalf of my firm, and I speak on behalf of everybody on the committee to re-elect Judge Love, that we're excited about the proposition of having Judge Love back at the probate court. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Judge J.C. Love.
Gavin, for that introduction, and thank you to Beasley Allen for putting together this fundraiser, this distinguished group of people who have been, some of them supporters since I first decided to run for office about 4 years ago. It's been, I guess, a little over 3 years since I've been at the probate court. I guess you can say that time flies when you're having fun. But, you know, before I go too deep into my remarks, I think I would have to go back and really point out and recognize those people who kind of been my village, and that would be my family. That I wouldn't be able to do what it is I do, my wife wouldn't be able to do what she does without really our parents. And so with me, I've got my father-in-law, Cedric Bradford, State Farm agent, avid Alabama fan, my mother-in-law, Audrey Bradford, who retired educator, full-time grandmother.
Your mother is over here. Your mother is over here.
I've seen your mother. I know it's one around everybody. I knew I saw she came. And so she's been the one that's really helped the kids out with that new map. Pick them up and get them to gymnastics and ballet, as well as my mother. Von Seal, who is still at Alabama State at the Outward Bound program, who is Nana, who picks up the kids when he needs them and babysits them when she needs them. And when one is sick and can't go to school, then she'll say, "I'll take off today and go over there and keep them." My sister Kimberlyn, who's kind of been around the world in politics, and I was auntie. There's a funny story a couple of months ago with the leadership Montgomery breakfast, that generally if I've got to get to work in the morning or out of town, that she's the one that takes the kids to school for, my girls to school for. And so that morning she's been on the board of leadership Montgomery, and so I couldn't go because she was at the event. So when Chairman Singleton asked where I was that morning, when I went up the table, I said, well, I had to play daddy. And so, but I guess more importantly, it's really kind of the backbones of the operation, really been my wife, Portia. That, because she does what she does, but she allows me to go ahead and give back through public service. She's someone who kind of wears a lot of different hats, from full-time doctor, building and growing her practice, to giving speeches, to being involved in the community, and then being a hands-on full-time mother. So that sometimes I look at her and try to see where her cape is and how she's able to do it. And so, despite it all, you'll fire up a text on her phone and let you know where you're supposed to go, and remind me I'm supposed to pick the child up, which I did a couple of weeks ago. So, I just want to tell her thank you for allowing me to really be able to serve this capacity. These are my three kids. Caroline, my oldest is 7, Catherine, 6-year-old, and my son James. Walking around with 2. So this is my family, but it's really been an honor and a privilege to really serve Montgomery County as probate judge. I got involved in politics being a practicing attorney over at Rushton Sackley. Had an idea that I could be mayor of this city. A lot of people here, from Mr. Taylor, who came and supported me in that initial run and took me out to Madison Park and kind of worked with me. We had a few rough early campaign speeches. And really came and really tried to set forth a vision for the city. And while unsuccessful, there are a number of people here who believed in me and thought that I should really be at the table about trying to improve things here in Montgomery. When the opportunity presented itself, Stephen went to the mayor's office and the probate judge's seat became open, who went to the governor's office and lobbied for me personally, or called friends and called people they knew in the office to advocate for me to get this position. And so, one of the things that I really appreciate is that support, and that's one of the things that really drives me every day to try to be the best probate judge I can be, to not misplace that support from the people in this room that really supported me. One of the things that I really told the governor when I got the call getting the appointment, I said, is I may not have been your first choice, but at least hopefully I'll be your best. And so that's really driven me in this position to really try to make this probate court not only one of the best here in the state, but also one of the best in the country. I think if you look at how we use technology and the things that we've brought innovation-wise over the past 3 years, you'd be hard-pressed to find any probate court in this country that's doing what we're doing, as well as the county court. And so that's really been a testament not only to me, but also to my 65 employees, who really came in and really embraced me and really decided that we were going to make our position being in the state's capital count for something, and trying to go ahead and lead by example. So that goes from working with Justice Parker and Justice Sellers at the Supreme Court to really become the first probate court in the state that would be on the out-of-file system. That doesn't mean a lot to the non-lawyers, but to those who are lawyers who practice every day, that's the state's electronic filing system. So without that, the attorneys still have to go and file things personally and rush down to the courthouse and try to get every 4 filed. And so now they'll have until midnight if there's a briefing deadline to get things filed. But also, regardless of what we really rolled out with the kiosk we use for voter registration. So that's really been something that I really stress here, is trying to make the ability for people to register to vote as accessible as possible. And it's really been a positive response about how the colleges have embraced it. I made it class before. But also how the high schools and the principals and the students have embraced it. I see Ms. Hayes there, she sent me a picture of some students over near using the kiosk. And I told all the students when we go and place them that the technology means nothing if you don't use it. And really the only probate court in the state that's using kiosks for voter registration, and I hadn't seen another voting office
That's a good one.
in the country that's doing that. So that's a testament here to my governor. That's better. Also, in regards to our mobile app, and so some of that's really been necessitated by COVID and our need to provide services, but also social distance here. So we're actually, again, we're the only probate court in the state that has an app like that.
Amen.
And now we're getting calls from the other probate courts wanting to come to Montgomery and see, about our apps and see about our kiosks. And then when you also talk about, the elections and how we've been able to have smooth elections and how we can let you all know what the wait times are on election day. When I've gone and talked to other election offices, they're surprised that we have an app that allows people to register to vote from their mobile phones, or being able to find where they go to vote and track their absentee ballot. And so it's not just here in the state, but we also are really out kicking our coverage nationwide with the things that we provide. And so even, a couple other advancements that hopefully this summer you all will be able to go to a grocery store and get your automobile renewal sticker while you're buying confined eggs and milk. As well as another program that we have to combat property fraud, that you will be able to register on the site, and then you'll get a notification if something's filed against your property. And so we're working every day to find solutions to the problems that you all face. But it's really been an honor to serve, and I'm really grateful for the support of the people in this room that really kind of believed in me when some people didn't know my name, or laughed and said, "Why is this young attorney going to go ahead and run for mayor?" But it's been an honor to serve, and hopefully that you all will continue to support me in the years ahead. And thank you all for coming, and I'm glad to go ahead and be able to crank back up the love train.
All right.
Politics, never take anything for granted. So, but as much as I love your support, I hope to have your vote. So please go out there and vote for me, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to go ahead and serve you. But thank you all for coming.
Keep love in the courthouse.
Thank you.